Hi guys, let's get our development area set up and ready to go in order to progress through the course and follow along with the examples. The complete source code for all working examples that we use throughout the course is available as an accompanying download, but I'd encourage you to use this for reference purposes only and to follow along with the examples from scratch. I say development area, but actually I mean just a few folders. Keeping our JavaScript files organized is as important as keeping the code itself organized. For now, let's just create a folder somewhere accessible. I'll put mine on my desktop here, and we can call it JavaScript Fundamentals. And now inside this folder, we can create another new folder, and we'll just call this one JS. So this is where the various script files that we'll be creating throughout this course will go. I've also got an example HTML file pre-prepared. I'll just drop this into the root folder as well. So what else do we need to get started with JavaScript? Well, JavaScript has an extremely low barrier to entry. If we wanted, we could just use Notepad or our system's default, most basic text editor. We don't need any special software to start writing JavaScript, although having a full-featured editor can make things much easier. I'll be using an express version of Visual Studio simply because I like it as an editor. There are plenty of alternatives, however, so use whatever you feel comfortable with. So what do we need to run JavaScript files? JavaScript can run in a variety of different environments, including the server, but typically we'll run it in a browser. This is how we'll be doing it in this course. The first section of the course will focus on some JavaScript basics, and as such the examples are all very short and basic. For the first section, we'll work in a single JavaScript file. As the examples get more complex in later lessons, we can create individual script files for them as and when required. For now, let's just create the script file that we'll be working with in the first section. We'll just call this file Basics. There are two ways that we can embed JavaScript into a web page. We can use a script element that has an src attribute that points to a separate JavaScript file, or we can use a naked script element with no attributes at all and just add the code as content within this script element. This is known as inline JavaScript, and although it can be useful and easy in small, limited situations, it's generally a bad idea for maintainability. We'll use the first form throughout this course. So let's add a link to our basics.js script file that we just created in our examples.html page. The script element must have a closing tag, and it doesn't have any content inside it. Script elements can go into the head or the body of a web page. For performance reasons, it's generally best to put them down near the end of the body. So how do we debug JavaScript? That is a very good question. Some of the better JavaScript editors have built-in debuggers, but generally these require a license. For free and advanced debugging features, we can use the same tool to debug JavaScript as we use to run it, a browser. Let's just open up our examples page and we can look at the debugging tools that we have available in most common browsers. I'm using Google Chrome. It's my development browser of choice. And if I hit the F12 key, that will open up the development tools. There are a range of different panels in the tool here. We can inspect the elements that make up the page here in the Elements tab. We can look at network requests in the Network tab. We'll be working mainly in the console in this course. So this is a JavaScript console, and if there are errors in the scripts that we write, they will be listed in the console here. So in this lesson, we set things up ready to make a start with the practical examples. We saw what we need to write JavaScript and what we need to run and debug it, which is all we need at this stage. Thanks for watching.